morning, Miramar, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tamara G. As always, you can check us out on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City of Miramar. And with me on the show today, we have Deborah Johnson King. She is the Director of Diversity and Inclusion and also the branch manager at the mortgage firm. We're going to be talking today all things mortgage, home ownership, particularly when it comes to South Florida, because it seems like that dream may be going away for a lot of people.
Oh,
It's not, you never know. So,
I
Deborah, welcome to
know.
the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So, let's just get right into it. Um,
Okay.
Housing seems to be the number one concern on a lot of people's minds, not just in South Florida, but because we are in South Florida, it just pops up that, wow, these houses are costing a lot out here.
They are. They are. And I like to tell people that here in the South Florida area, especially in Broward and Miami-Dade County, it's like we exist in our own little world down here.
Mhm,
Real estate and mortgages is a whole different animal in our side of the world than the others.
mhm, mhm.
And yes, usually, well, right now we're looking at housing prices are a little bit higher nationwide, but even so, even more so here in our area. And why is this? This is kind of like an after effect from the pandemic. Because remember in the pandemic and we were locked down, most people were able to work from home. So home became South Florida for a lot of people.
Wow, that's okay. Well, you know what? And I just thought there was more traffic just because people are always coming here. But you're absolutely right. When you can work from
Mhm.
anywhere as long as you have internet, people decide to
Exactly.
come here.
Exactly. So what has happened and what has contributed to also driving our real estate prices up is that they are physically here in our area, but making northern salaries.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's right. Because they pay us in sunshine here in South
Okay.
Florida.
Yes, 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 absolutely. So, and then a lot of folks from up north, they came, they got a taste of our standard of living, our style of living, and they never went back. So a lot of them have sold their properties further north, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, even California on the west side, and they have brought those funds into our communities. So whereas our house prices is affordable for them where they're coming from, and that has contributed to raising our real estate prices.
Wow. Okay, so
Mhm.
with that, Deborah, I know the golden rule is something's got to give. Either you're going to have high prices for homes, but the rate could be lower. But now it seems like we've got higher prices for homes and higher interest rates. So how are we supposed, it's usually one or the other, right? It's
Exactly, exactly. That's the general rule of thought that, okay, fine. If we see that, that 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 interest rates are going up, traditionally, and the norm should be that the real estate prices are stabilizing and going down.
okay.
We've had a couple of months where that has been the case, but so far this year, nothing has gone according to plan, okay? As far as interest rates and real estate is concerned. I've been doing this, what, 30 years? I've never seen it like this before. And what can we do but ride it out?
Right. And that is so funny that you say that because as someone who has been a real estate professional for 30 years, you're not the only one that's saying this is happening. But what does this do for, let's just start with the first time home buyer, not someone who's trying to get out of a house that they've been in. Let's start with a first time home buyer. If a
Mhm.
first time home buyer who usually can get grants or usually can get some closing costs because it's based on income, um, how are they affording a $500,000 house?
Exactly. Well, one of the things, and being from the islands, my grandma always said, we need to eat food, wear clothes, and live somewhere. Okay, so regardless of what the market is doing, regardless of what's happening, we have to have a roof over our heads.
Mhm.
And not only has the cost of real estate gone up, but rents have gone up so much more as well. And unfortunately, people are having to take a bigger chunk of their monthly income to put towards housing. And I get this question all the time, Deborah, I'm paying $2,500 a month in rent. Why can't I qualify for a mortgage that's $2,500? But unfortunately, we're not comparing apples to apples when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage and being approved for a rental unit, even though some places are asking for first, last plus security, and also that you have to make sometimes twice, sometimes three times the monthly rent in salary. But getting back to your point, Tamara, is that for first time home buyers, there are programs out there that can assist in
Okay.
Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, well, throughout the state of Florida. But here in our area, especially in the Miami-Dade area, we have some of the best down payment assistance programs with the higher dollar amount compared to other places. For example, in Miami-Dade County, there is what we call the MD program.
Mhm.
With that one, you can, depending on your household size and your income, you're eligible for up to 100,000. Then there's another pool of funds that we can access for 35,000, and then there's another pool of funds that we can access for 28,500. Now, whether or not you qualify, is determined by your household size as well as your income. So that has been a big help for a lot of people. But even so, because the cost of real estate has gone so high, a lot of folks are being priced out of the market.
So
And
even to buy a home,
mhm,
being priced out, even to rent a place, whether it's an apartment or a home, we're being priced out. So
absolutely.
what do you think this means for South Florida? To me, it seems like we're going to have people leaving the state, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
Well, that there's been an exodus of people going, but people coming in has even offset that even more. Because
Wow.
folks are moving to Florida every day. I saw this meme on social media. There was a sign, "Don't come here, Florida's full."
I know what you mean, exactly. And learn how to drive 95 if you are coming.
Don't get me started.
Yes, exactly. But seriously,
Mhm,
there
mhm.
was, I know in the last year or two, because this happened to some friends of mine who were renting, where their landlords went up exponentially on their rent. When you just said someone is paying $2,500 for a one bedroom or two bedroom, that's house money. That's not
Absolutely.
that's not apartment
Absolutely.
money. And they did it because they could do it. Uh,
Absolutely.
but does that necessarily mean that it's right to do?
Unfortunately, the state of Florida, unlike other states like New York, we do not have rent controls in place. So therefore, I would say, and I'm sure some people will disagree with me, but it's more favorable towards the landlord because they are not restricted or controlled by how much they can increase their rent at any one time. And because there are more people out there that need rentals than rentals are available, it's like a free for all. They can do whatever they want. Okay, fine. This is what I'm charging. You don't want it? Move next. And they'll have it rented in less than no time.
Wow. If you are just tuning in, thank you so much. We are speaking with Deborah Johnson King. She is the Director of Diversity and Inclusion, also the branch manager for the mortgage firm. She was referred by my good friend Jill Tracy, who you helped get a place of her own. And so, Jill is very vocal about her struggles dealing, with credit and how she had to work her way back, and she's not the only one that is going through that. So do you recommend or tell people to not give up because they may have some credit issues, or they may not have all of the down payment? Because we just mentioned about how there are some programs out there that can help people.
Absolutely. I say don't self-diagnose, because a lot of people think, and they keep going to Google, and if it's on the internet, it has to be true, right?
Yeah.
So
Not, she's being facetious, y'all, not.
yes. And they read these things. Okay, fine. I saw this house on Zillow, and the monthly payments are only 1,500, but then you don't read the fine print. That's putting 20% down with credit scores of 750 and things of that nature. But no, I say, come to a professional. Let's just take a look at where you're at. Because if you don't start somewhere, you can't get to your destination, right? You have to know, number one, where you are, and number two, where you're going. But more importantly, how are you going to get there? Okay? This state of affairs, this state of the economy is not going to last forever. Okay, what goes up must come down. And when it starts coming down, if you're not in a position to purchase now, you want to make sure that you're ready then, as opposed to starting to get ready. That's like the new year is coming. Don't wait until January 1st to make your resolutions if you're a resolution making person. Put your plan together now. So, come to the professional. Let's take a look and see where you're at. There may be some things that you need to work on. You mentioned credit, Tamara. Okay, sure. Now, your interest rate is credit score driven, all right? The higher your score, the lower your rate. Okay, you may have an okay credit score now, but if we can work to get that higher over the next couple of months, why not do that so that you're in a better position when it comes time to purchase? And then also now we're coming up towards the beginning of the year. And what is that? The first quarter, tax season. Okay. A lot of people, they've loaned the government their money interest free for the past year, and they'll be getting it back in the form of their income tax return, right? So, therefore, that helps take care of the hurdle for the down payment assistance as well. And then, coupled with what's out there, with either funds from the county or funds from a particular city, then that will take care of some of the down payment assistance. Have you heard of the Hometown Heroes?
I
Yes.
have, I
Okay.
have. It was millions of
Okay.
dollars in it, as a matter of fact. Is it coming
Yes. It is. It is. It is. We got word this past week. There's a little bit in the kitty today. I made a note here. I checked a little bit earlier. It was like maybe 1.5 million. But
back?
within the next 2 weeks or so, this there's going to be available another 35, $36 million. So that helps people that are in the a little bit higher income bracket,
Okay.
so that will assist them with their down payment as well. And it's not occupation driven this time the way it was initially. So
Right.
anyone, providing your credit is a 640 and everything else being equal, you should be able to access some of those funds. But I have to tell people, they come and go very, very quickly.
Right. So in case
So
you
that
guys didn't hear what Deborah said, it is not germane to what it was before, which was teachers, firefighters, police
mhm,
officers, nurses, that type of career. It is open to everyone now.
right.
You've got to be in it to win it, and you got to have the
That's right.
stuff together.
Ab-
So, okay.
Absolutely.
So for people who have not gone through the buying a house and getting all the information together, as someone who has done it at least twice, I can tell you, and for the folks out there, listen, you got to have your stuff, okay? Because Deborah's going to be calling you and saying, I need 3 months of your bank statements. I need 3 months of your job statements. I need this from you. I need your driver's, like all the stuff that you would think. And I know sometimes the bank also asks for a lot of extra stuff, and people think that they're picking on them, but give it to them, let them have it so that you can.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I tell folks. Listen, It's an emotional roller coaster. Some days you're gonna be up, some days you're gonna be down. You're gonna see my number on the phone and like, if she asks me for one more piece of paper,
One more piece of paper, one more thing I gotta download. Yes,
like, listen, he who holds the gold makes the rules, right? After you get those keys in hand, you're not gonna have to be bothered with me
right,
or
right.
until it's time to refinance or buy another house.
Well, let's talk about that, Deborah, because right now, what are those interest rates looking like? And do you suggest that people wait? Do you think they're going down soon, or should they get in and then refinance?
I tell folks, get in where you fit in right now,
Okay.
okay? A lot of people like to ask, is this a good time to buy? It's a good time to buy for you and your family situation, okay? Yes, we have to agree. Everybody knows that rates are high now.
Mhm.
But if you need a home, you need a home. Just go ahead and purchase what you can comfortably afford right now.
So what
I
are they
tell
about? 7%, 8%? What is it?
Ooh, what's today? Tuesday. When I saw them on Friday, they were ugly. They were in the eights. They were in the eights. You know, there's one school of thought that says to just go ahead and purchase now whatever it is that you can afford and then refinance afterwards. If that suits your particular situation, go ahead and do that. If that's not you and you can wait for a little while, you can do that as well. But in the meantime, know that while you're waiting, you're also saving money so that you can have a much bigger down payment. Because what happens when you have a bigger down payment, then your loan amount is lower and then your monthly payments are lower as well.
And it's always good for people, particularly first time home buyers, even if you this is your second or third home, to work with a real estate professional, because this is what you do every day, and you have the relationship with the banks, with the mortgage brokers, with the inspectors, all of those people, instead of people just out here doing it on their own. They're going rogue.
Making mistakes, making big mistakes because they don't know or they're listening to people that don't know. You know, okay, to cousin so and so that bought a house 10 years ago, you know, the market was way different.
Uh-huh.
A year ago, the market was different than what it is now. You know, find someone whose opinion that you trust, and also, don't just take one person's word for it. Go ahead and talk to other people to make sure that the information that you're getting is correct. And another point that I want to make as far as choosing your team, your real estate team, correctly, is that you want to make sure that the person that you're going with, if you're in the market for down payment assistance, make sure that your lender is approved with all of the programs that are out there, because you're not able to go directly to the county, for example, to apply for these subsidies. It has to be done through your lender. And if your lender is only approved with one subsidy, but yet there are three more out here that you're eligible for, you're only going to be able to get that one because your lender can't give you the other three. Here at the mortgage firm, we do what we call layered financing, meaning that we get subsidy from here, from here, from here, from here. We stack them. We closed on a property for a young lady maybe about 3, 4 weeks ago. For she got a total of 143,000 from Miami-Dade County.
Wow. And
Yeah,
that's a great thing too, as a South Florida realtor, you are able to show homes, everywhere. So if somebody wants to live in Miami, or if they want to live in Fort Lauderdale, if they want to live in Boca, you could show homes there.
Absolutely. So choose your team very carefully.
That's amazing. And can you imagine if she didn't have a team that was led by you and everyone else, how much money she would have left on the table, or wouldn't have even known that she could have
Exactly,
applied for?
exactly. Because what happened is that 143,000 that came off of her sales price. So therefore that reduced the money that she needed to borrow from the lender, and she only paid a mortgage on the remainder as opposed to the total sales price, purchase price.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so again, if you guys are just tuning in, we are having a discussion with Deborah Johnson King, Director of Diversity and Inclusion, and also the branch manager at the mortgage firm, about all things real estate here in South Florida. Where are some of the hot zips right now where people are looking, and it is affordable, and I guess affordable is, by whose definition is affordable, but let's just say a $300,000 to $400,000 house in South Florida right now. Or are there any of those? Deborah's like,
You
okay,
notice my eyes, right? I'm like, what is
yes.
she talking about? Listen, do you have a stash of houses somewhere that we don't know about? Come on, girlfriend,
But
spill the tea.
you know what? I love that you're saying that. So, what are you looking at the average cost of houses being now? Let's say a 3 bedroom, 2 bath with a garage in whatever that hot zip is. You tell us what that hot zip is.
Okay. Now, normally, well, right now, it's very, very difficult to find a single family home in that price range, okay, that doesn't need a lot of work.
Okay.
But depending on the area that you're looking in, maybe you can get a townhouse or a condo. But unfortunately, with people of, you know, various ethnic backgrounds, they don't want condos.
Right.
And sometimes, as a first time home buyer, you have to buy in the zip code that you can afford as opposed to the zip code that you want to live in. I would love to be in a penthouse on the beach where I can lay in my bed and see the sunrise over the
Near the
ocean,
ocean. Yeah.
through my sliding glass doors, but I'm not there yet. I need to live where I can afford. And
Mhm.
so that's what I try to impose and impart on my clients. Let's just start somewhere, because the main thing is right now you want to go ahead. You're going to date the rate, you're going to marry the house, and you're going to divorce your landlord. Okay?
Nice, nice.
That's what
Okay.
you keep in mind.
Right. And so give us some of those cities that, truly are popping up, or that you see where people are like, okay, this is a good buy here. I can do this.
Well, there are some pockets like in Broward, for example, a little what we're finding is that the further north that you go, away from the county line and heading further north, like maybe, in Coral Springs and Coconut Creek and even North Lauderdale,
Mhm.
you can find some properties, but because right now we have supply and demand. The supply is low, but the demand is great. We're not having bidding wars as bad as it was a couple of months ago, the beginning of the year or late last year, but there's still a lot of competition for these properties. So you want to make sure that before you jump in your realtor's car or they start taking you out to look for properties, that you are prepared. You are in a position that you are qualified to purchase, because a lot of people, they go to lenders or whomever and they get what we call a pre-qualification. There's
Mhm.
a difference between a pre-qualification, a pre-approval, and a commitment. Okay, over here at the mortgage firm, we have a new program that we're just rolling out now, as a matter of fact, that we're giving you a commitment right off the bat.
Okay.
Okay, so that when you give that to your realtor, listen, this person has already been underwritten. They are solid. We have vetted them. We've gotten all of their documentation and they are ready to go. So the instant that they find a property that they can get a contract on, boom, and we're ready to close. Because a pre-qualification is the information that you give the lender. They have not done their due diligence. They haven't seen any documentation to go ahead and verify the information that you've given them. So based on your verbal, they will say, okay, fine, here, I have one right now. from 2 lenders. She's given me a pre-qualification for $500,000, and I'm pulling my hair like, "How could they have pre-qualified you for this?" I'm like, this is crazy. Based on your income and your debts, maybe 250. And then she's looking at me like I'm the one that's crazy. Okay. I'm like, well, if these folks said that they can do it, as much as I would love your business, but here, you need to go back to them so that they can do it.
Well, and I love the fact too now that there are programs out there that will help people in certain income brackets, a little higher income brackets. We know about all of the first time home buyer that will help people who are
Mm-hmm.
making a certain amount, but now there are actually programs that will help people who are making over six figures to get some help because of how the market is here in South Florida, and they know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what we're seeing is that some private lenders, companies themselves, they are starting to come out with down payment assistance programs that's separate and apart from funds that are coming from the city or the state or the county. So it depends on that person's particular situation. Usually I say we can find something for somebody,
Right.
whether it's 3%, whether it's $10,000 or what have you. And a lot of times people don't need as much as they think they do, because there are programs out there right now that we can get you a conventional mortgage for 3% down. If you're buying a $300,000 house, what's that?
$9,000.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
Wow.
you go.
And I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
good at math, but I knew
You
that.
see, I'm so proud of you.
Well, listen, how can people get in touch with you, Deborah, if they are interested in getting a home? And should they wait until January? I know you said you should start getting ready now, but is it wise to look at the end of the year, or do they just need to come in and have that consultation, I assume, with you?
What I like to do is I offer a free 30-minute consultation. It can be in person, or we can do it on a Zoom. But let's just take a look and see where you're at, you know? Let's see where you're at, what you need to work on, and then also determine how much it is that you're going to eventually be able to be approved for. So my number is 321-588-3262. That's 321-588-3262. And our office is in Miami Gardens.
Sounds good. And they can always go to the website as well. Tell
Oh,
them.
absolutely, absolutely. The mortgage firm.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Deborah Johnson King,
No, thank
Director.
you.
No, thank you. That invaluable information truly today for people who are looking to buy a home and wanting to get out of that, rat race of paying a landlord who can decide at any time that they want to go up $500 on your rent once your lease is up for that year. And people were doing that last year.
Oh, they're still doing it. One young lady, she was paying 1,800 for a two-bedroom. She came crying. Her landlord went up $1,000, $2,800 for a two-bedroom apartment. Apartment.
And how do you expect anybody, that's just heartless. How do you expect people to make it just because you're greedy, or maybe you're trying to get rid of them or whatever, but that's not the way to do it. Don't do that to
Mhm,
people. That's
mhm.
undue pressure and stress that she doesn't need.
Absolutely. Remember, guys, I said what we're going to do. We're going to date the rate. We're
Mhm.
going to marry the house, and we're divorcing the landlord.
I love it. Deborah Johnson King, Director of Diversity and Inclusion, and also branch manager at the mortgage firm in Miami Gardens. Thank you so much for joining us today. We certainly appreciate it.
My
And
pleasure. Thank you.
no problem. And thank you for joining us and watching Good Morning Miramar. Until next time, I'm your host, Tamara G. See you.